I'm a first-time mom, and this is my labor and delivery story. I gave birth within 2.5 hours. Yes, my labor was only 2.5 hours, and I pushed baby out in 2 pushes. I have previous videos about how we conceived during my pregnancy, the different ups and downs, all of my memories. So this only makes sense for me to wrap it up and come full circle with the labor and delivery. First things first, I went 40 weeks and 1 day. So I gave birth the day after my due date, which is pretty rare, but it was great. Being that my pregnancy was considered high risk, not because of like any health complications, but how we conceived. We conceived via IVF. So if you conceive via IVF, you automatically get qualified as a high risk pregnancy. They do not really recommend giving birth past 40 weeks. And at 40 weeks, they're going to start to try to induce you. And 42, they're not doing it. And I was seeing a MFM just because of high risk, right? But everything was perfect. Like I had a quote unquote textbook pregnancy. So after speaking to a few of the MFM doctors and nurse practitioners, they were Black women, and I feel like that was important for me to listen to, and I felt heard. I trust my intuition, but I did want to take some advice from them because obviously they are the medical professionals, but I also wanted to listen to someone that looked like me, that understand what I'm going through because they also had children, and then, have the medical professional plus my intuition. I know that I didn't want to go past 41 weeks. That was the cutoff because everything becomes very risky at that point. So I wanted to go before 41 weeks. We had a whole plan of what I was going to do. I did a few things. It's a YouTube video. If you type in like induced labor video or something like that, I think it's by Love Joe, something like that. But it was a induce a labor workout video. I am looking it up. Looked it up. I did the workout Nourish Move Love. It's a 15-minute workout. It's not difficult, but it is a little challenging when you are pregnant. And I did Mouth Circuit. I did both of those. I did them the day I hit 40 weeks because I didn't want to do anything sooner. At 40 weeks that day, I did the Mouth Circuit and I did that workout. I did have other plans like, okay, I'm going to do these for 2 or 3 days. And then once I hit 40 weeks and 3 days, we're going to possibly do some other methods, right? Maybe like the midwives brew or even the balloon, like different things. It was basically going to increase to invasiveness because I did not want to, have Pitocin. I didn't want to be induced. I wanted to have a natural vaginal birth. And I did. I did those two things. And nothing happened that day. I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. I did some of the Mouth Circuits before bed. And I just was chilling. We went to sleep. And for some reason, it was difficult for me to sleep. Like nothing uncomfortable, but I just was like, I can't fall asleep. I feel, if you like drunk caffeine a little too close to bedtime, like that. Like I just felt like I couldn't get comfortable, couldn't get in a deep sleep. And same thing for my wife. But I had woke up about, I would say around 2 something. I had woke up about 2 something and I was like, I feel like at this point it's contractions, but I was like, I feel pressure. It's kind of like period cramps. And I'm like, I don't know. And I looked and I do remember that our midwives told us that if it happens consistently, like it's timed, like every 10 minutes for about 1 minute or something like that. So I was looking for a pattern. And I watched it. I said, okay, now let me look for the second time. The second time it happened, I say, if it happens a third time, I'm going to wake my wife up. I'm going to wake her up and say, hey, I think I'm in labor. And it happened a third time. Like it was light cramps. Like it felt like period cramps. I'm like, And it'll happen, and it'll stop, and then like in 10 minutes, it'll happen. I'm like, okay. I said, babe, I think I'm going into labor. No, I said, babe, I think it's happening. She's like, oh, I'm not surprised because I couldn't sleep. Like I couldn't go to sleep. I've been tossing and turning all night. And at that point, we called the midwives, and I say, I think I'm in labor. They asked the questions like, hey, how long and whatever. At this point, I think it had only been like 20, 30 minutes. And she was like, oh, one of the midwives was like, oh, you have some time left. Like, we don't want to bring you into the birth center and have you labor here all night, all morning. We want you to do most of your labor at home. And when you're in active labor, we want you to come in. And she asked me my symptoms and everything, like the contractions, how often they were, how long they were. And she was like, yeah, they sound kind of like you're in the beginning stages of labor. They're not very intense. I'm talking to you. Like, she's like, I know that you're not in active labor because how you're able to talk and hold a conversation with me. You are very coherent. I'm like, okay, because I had never been to that point. So I'm like, okay, whatever. You don't know. She did know, but I'm like, whatever. She's like, stay hydrated. Because if they're inconsistent, like if there's a pattern, but they're inconsistent, it could be due to lack of hydration, all of these things. So she's like, stay hydrated. But whatever. We decide to get in the shower because we just talking. We're just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Oh, okay. Actually, I think I was on my labor ball at first. I used it throughout a pregnancy and everything, and I was kind of just bouncing on it, twirling. I was like, oh, hold on, okay. I was able to stop and talk through it, and then we got in the shower, and I was just chilling in the shower. And I'm like, oh, they kind of, hold on, they started to intensify, but the length was still the same. It still was happening about every 10 minutes, but on the pain scale, instead of it being a 1 or 2, it tends to go to a 3 or 4. So I'm like, oh, okay. But not too bad. We stay in the shower for about 10, 15 minutes, not long. And after that, we're in the bathroom talking. And then I realized, I'm like, these are kind of speeding up. Like, it's still at 3 or 4. The pain level has stayed the same. But instead of every 10 minutes, they happen like every 5 to 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. And I know that it progresses like that. But I wasn't having a consistent pattern. And remember I said, like, so it'll be every 10 minutes. Then the next one will be every 7 minutes. Then the next one will be 10 minutes. The next one might be 5 minutes. Like, it wasn't consistent. But the pain wasn't increasing. At this point, the consistency started to happen like every 7 to 10 minutes. So I called back and I'm like, hey, this is kind of weird. Something like, I feel like, is not consistent. And she's like, you're still able to talk. Like, I don't think you're in active labor. I'm like, but it's speeding up. Like, I'm not staying in these phases long. Like, I done went from 10 minutes to now it's like every 5 minutes and it's increasing. She's like, okay. Basically, she was just like, just take your time. And what they were telling me is like, first time mom, sometimes you can feel like it's happening right now. And really, when you go to the hospital, the birth center, it happens 16 hours later. So it's not that she wasn't listening to me. It's that she has experienced first moms that kind of, for lack of better terms, overreacted or basically overthought what was actually happening, or they thought they were more prepared. Because I'm like, I think I'm going into labor. Like, I think I'm having a baby right now. Literally in less than I called the first call to this moment I'm about to tell you may have been 30 minutes max. From when I woke my wife up, we made the first call, labor ball for 10 minutes, shower for 10 to 15 minutes, less than 30 minutes. At this point, after the shower, because I still didn't have on clothes because I just got out of the shower. So I'm standing there just talking, and then all of a sudden, it intensifies. It goes from 0 to 100 really quick. 0 to 100. I think that saying comes from birth, because it went from 0 to 100. I was able to talk. I was able to say, okay, hold on, babe. Ooh. Okay, now what you said? To screaming to the top of my lungs, like screaming, like screaming, like just think of screaming to the top of the lungs. And I started to bear down on the side of the bathroom, like a sink, and I was like, the midwife, I do remember. I'm going off the dome. I didn't take notes. She did say, hey, have you started bleeding? That second call, I said, no, I don't see any blood. And she said, what about a mucus plug? I say, I don't think I have lost my mucus plug yet. But once we got off the phone with her, when I went to the restroom, like I was in the restroom, when I used the restroom, I wiped and I saw the mucus. Like I was like, babe, I think I'm losing a mucus plug. Like this looks like, for women who haven't given birth, it looks like kind of like ovulation, but thicker and more ovulation discharge. But you can lose your mucus plugs days before you even go into labor, or you can lose it in that moment. I lost it. I'm like, babe, I don't know. And I started. No, at this point, I don't think I was bleeding, but I'm like, babe, I'm in pain. I feel like I'm about to have this baby. I was like, I'm having this baby in this bathroom in this house. And she's like, no. She calls the midwife back. Now, mind you, we stay 30 minutes from the birth center. This is in the middle of the night. Oh, and to set the scene, this was when Atlanta got the snowstorm. So the snowstorm was in, I think it started maybe January 9th, 10th. So we're still in that window. Like, I think this was the second or third day of the snowstorm. Okay. And we like, oh, we cannot be snowed in while it snowed. We don't want to go into labor, because on my actual due date, it was actually snowing. If we went into labor, I don't know what we would have did. We would have just gave birth at home. However, 30 minutes away, still ice and snow on the roads in the middle of the night. So my wife calls the midwife, and the midwife hears me in the back screaming. She's like, you need to move quick. She was like, she sounds like she's in active labor. Like, and I guess this is what she meant. Like, being that you cannot talk to me tells me that you're in active labor. I hear you screaming. You cannot hold a conversation. And I'm like, I can't, because at this point, they're coming every 2 to 3 minutes. And the intensity is no longer 3 or 4. They're like 9 or 10. They have sped up quick. So at this point, it's probably been 30 minutes from the first call. She's like, TJ, that's my wife's name. She said, you have to get her to move quick. You're not going to have much time in between the contractions, but you have to move quick. Every time they stop, get moving. And I was just like, I cannot. She was like, y'all do not want to have the baby at home by yourselves. That's not what y'all want to do. This is not what y'all plan. So you have to do it. She's like, Sunny, you got to move. I'm literally bearing down, screaming. At this point, I'm starting to see blood dripping. And she's like, yeah, this is happening quick. Like, if y'all don't move now, you might have that baby in your house or in the car. You need to move now. So my wife, at this point, ain't no clothes. Mind you, I still don't have on clothes. My wife is like, I'm like, I can't put on clothes. She took a robe, like a bathrobe, threw it over me, and was like, let's go. Mind you, we had plans of recording birth, recording labor. We had the tripod. We got the GoPro. We had everything. So because we didn't want to pay for birth photography, because $3,000 for birth photography was wild, which I'm glad we did not go that route, because they wouldn't even made it to the birth. We probably would have lost our deposit and everything. It happened all too fast. So my wife like, you gotta move. And every time I crouch down, she's like, okay. As soon as I'm like, get some relief, she's pushing me. We gotta go down the stairs in the basement to get in the truck. She lays the towel out in the car and everything because I'm bleeding. Not heavy, but I'm spotting per se. And she's like, let's go. So she's trying to get the labor ball. She's trying to get the stuff that I told, like, if you know me, you know, she had to, she's like, I'm trying, our bags and stuff was already packed, but the labor ball, you got to put it in. So she's trying to grab the labor ball. And I remember screaming. I was like, fuck that ball. I was like, let's go. So I got this robe. I don't even have it on. It's just thrown over my shoulders. She gets in the truck. We're going. She goes this. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing because as many times as we leave this house, she has only went this way towards the expressway maybe 2 or 3 times. As many times as we lived, and we lived in this house for like 3 years, 2-3 years. So this time though, she decides to go this way again. So, and it's the longer way. I'm like looking and I'm like, where are you going? What is happening? She's like, Like, let her drive. She's like, calm down. I got it. Like, if she didn't go the other way, I think because of the snow, like, oh, trees was down or something that she knew that it would be a hazardous way and it was going to take longer. So she went this way. But to me, I'm like, this is the long way. And I'm losing it. I'm in the back of the car. Just... I do wish we recorded it, but I probably would have slapped the phone or camera out of her hand with it in my face. But I was screaming, okay? I was screaming, just back there, just screaming to the top of my lungs. So she gets to the expressway. She's gunning the expressway. Good thing, thank God, there was no traffic. Thank God that it wasn't like rush hour. Thank God I went in labor in the middle of the night, okay? The road was clear, so she's doing like 90, 100 down the expressway, and I'm screaming in the back. I end up not screaming. I went to, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's the proper term. I never looked it up, but I didn't black out, but it was like an out-of-body experience. I was screaming to then I was no longer making noise for like 25 minutes of the drive. I was just back there kind of dazed. I was still having the contractions. I was still like, I still felt them, but I was like, I reached, I guess, my height of tolerance. They no longer, like, they hurt, don't get me wrong, but I no longer had a physical response. I was breathing and everything. I stopped screaming, but I didn't black out, but I just feel like I was having an out-of-body experience. And I had the robe, because I had ended up taking the robe off. I'm like this, so I'm just unclothed in the back seat. And the window, I rolled all the windows down because I'm hot too. So I rolled all the windows down. And my wife said, she's like, you need to put the robe or roll the windows up so you don't catch a cold. And I sat up and looked at her. I said, babe. And she's like, okay, I'll leave you alone. Because you think I care about a cold right now. But she don't know. She looking out for me. Okay, so we get there. We turned a 30, well, not we. She turned a 30-minute drive into like probably a 20-minute. We pull in. And they like, she's ringing the doorbell to get in. They come get us. The midwives come get us. And I'm walking in the hallway. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we get into triage. Oh, God. Triage. The midwife is like, get up on the table. I need to check your dilation. I'm like, it's not happening. I'm not getting up on the table. You're not sticking, looking up. I'm not laying down. In the car, I didn't lay down. I sat up the whole time. I just was, something just told me to sit up. So I just sat up. And she was like, I need to hook the monitor on you to check for baby. I said, baby fine. Like, really, fuck the monitor. Like, baby fine. Like, I'm about to give birth. The baby is coming out now. Oh, when I was walking, I'm kind of all over the place, but I keep remembering. When I was walking in the hallway, I was like, babe, I'm going to stick my hand up and I'm going to snatch this baby out. I said, I'm going to snatch the baby out. I'm going to snatch the baby out because there's no way, like, this pain is going to stop unless I snatch her out. I was like, I'm snatching her out. And she's like, I don't think you want to do that. I say, don't worry about it. I say, I promise y'all, when I get in triage, I'm going to snatch the baby out. This is crazy. And I go in triage. She's like, get on the table. I'm not getting on the table. She hooked me up from the monitor. And I say, this baby about to come. This baby is about to come. And she's like, wait. Do not push. I'm like, the baby coming. I'm not listening. She sees on the chart. She say, wait, are you getting the urge to push? I say, I just told you the baby coming. She said, and I say, why? She said, because the baby heart rate drops, I guess, at certain contractions, whatever. So I push. I'm not waiting on a go. I'm trusting my body. And my body, the fetal ejection reflex, it did like that. I push, head comes out. My water had never broke, so baby still is in the sack. Push, head comes out. I push one more time. Literally, I push one more time, whole body slips out. and the midwife caught the baby because I was like, I was like standing on the side of the table, and when I pushed and the head came out, the midwife that was in triage with me, she screamed. She was like, head! And you hear all of the other nurses and midwives come running in there with, like, you know, the little carts with everything on it. So all you hear is, head! Like, they come running in there. So we were planning on giving birth in a birthing room, right? Get in the pool, do all of the things, birth and labor in the nice room. I literally say this was our postpartum room because I didn't even make it into the room. 2 hours and 30 minutes was my labor. And I pushed baby out in 2 pushes. But I trust my body. I trust my instinct. I didn't have any, they didn't have to cut me. I didn't have any epidurals, Pitocin, nothing like that. And the birth center don't have that type of stuff. Like, it's a natural birth, okay? I did tear. I had a 2-degree tear, and they stitched me back up after after I pushed out the baby. The midwife had the baby. She was like, "Look, your baby is born," and tried to hand her to me, and I was like, "Give her to TJ." So I think TJ had got her and held her, and then I was just like, I don't want the baby. I was in what I guess is the birth pause, and I just remember saying, "It stinks so bad." And it was like, that's normal. That's like the fluids and everything. I'm like, it stinks so bad. TJ, later on, she was like, yeah, it stunk. And on the way to the room, and I always thought TJ had the baby. She was like, no, the midwife had the baby. She said, I had you. I was carrying you and helping you to the room. So the midwife had the baby. And I was like, oh, no. But we went to the room, and we were ready to be discharged because at the birth center, they don't keep you for days. As long as you meet those, like, deadlines, the baby temperature, all of those things, you stop bleeding, all of those things, you are safe to go home because they tell you you're not sick. You're not sick. You don't need to stay here for days. You're not sick. If everything is checking out, you are fine to go home. So at 4 hours, they discharged us. We said we're not going anywhere. I think we stayed 12 hours because we was like, we're tired. We about to go to sleep, okay? I did, a baby latched when she was born. So I started breastfeeding. I am still breastfeeding now, 6 months later. So that, and we all laid in the bed and took a nap. Babe ordered us Chick-fil-A because we hadn't ate, like, we had little snacks but not food, and we needed food. So she like Uber ate some Chick-fil-A or something like that. We had something to eat, and we stayed there. We napped. I showered. In the shower, like, one of the nurses helped me. I was just like, it was a lot. Like, I don't know. I just was in awe. But it was a lot because I was bleeding, and I was like, do you mind, like, passing me drawer? Like, they went in my suitcase that we packed to get me stuff. Like, they were so helpful. It was the dream birth. Like, I trusted myself. I didn't have to listen to anybody because my whole list for, like, my labor plan, I didn't want what I wanted was to listen and trust myself. I didn't want anybody directing me when to push, counting. I didn't want people to say, oh, you sure you don't want no epidural? I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to trust myself. Yes, we planned to read. The only thing that happened that we did not plan was to record, film, and take pictures during the labor. Clearly, that was not meant. The entire time I was pregnant for all of the ultrasounds, baby did not want to be filmed. We barely have any face. I think we have one side view. We don't have any face profiles from ultrasound. She was not having it. Like, she would flip and turn. She has a mind of her own, okay? And I guess she didn't want the labor to be filmed. And we didn't. That was the only thing, and not laboring at the birth center, but it's fine. It happened. They were shocked. They were like, first of all, we don't have that many triage babies, but we have my baby was known as the triage baby for some time. It's like, oh, yeah, you was the triage baby, or, oh, this was a triage birth. And she said it's rare for first-time moms to have labors that quick. So that's why, because if they knew that, they would have been told me to come in. And it was like, being that you sat up in the car, that's probably why you didn't have the baby in the car. If you laid down, the baby probably would have been born in a car. And I was like, what? Yeah, she was like, yeah, because sitting down stops the gravity, the push from coming down. She was like, if you would have laid back, you would have had that baby, or stood up or squatted in the car, or like kneeled on your knees, you would have had the baby. Had her standing up 2.5 hours. And afterwards, I was just in a bliss. Like, I was in a awe. Like, I guess it's the birth pause. I was just like out of it. I think for the first, we did have, during the golden hour, she did do skin to skin. But I think most of her skin to skin was with TJ. Like, for a while, I just was like, I was out of it. I did hold her and everything. I was just in awe of myself, of everything. Like, it all happened so fast. And I am so grateful. Everything happened. Like, I am so grateful, so blessed. I'm in awe of myself. I am in awe of my partner, of TJ. I'm in awe of the baby. I'm in awe of everything. And everything happened how it was supposed to. And I am glad that it happened mostly how I planned. And even though it was probably the most painful thing I have ever experienced, it is also the most beautiful thing. I tell TJ, like, I want to give birth again to the same baby. Like, I don't want necessarily have another baby, but I want this same baby. I want to give birth again because I have never experienced or felt that. And I'm guessing it's the endorphins, the oxytocin, all of the good things. I've never experienced something like that at the height of like pain, and then I pushed myself past that, was able to give birth and get like the beauty of it all. Like, it's a high that I never experienced, also a pain I never experienced, but it's such a beautiful thing. And I am grateful that God, my ancestors, spirit guides, and universe allowed me to birth in that way. It was beautiful, and I wouldn't change a thing. And she is the light of our world. I don't know if I ever said, well, I think I did. I put a gender reveal up, I think, but I gave birth to a baby girl, and she is beautiful. Her spirit is beautiful. Her smile, her face, everything. She is just more than we could have ever imagined. She is the light of our world right now. And yeah, this is my labor and delivery story as a first-time mom. I did it in 2 pushes in 2.5 hours. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I'm a superhero. I'm a G. I'm a real G out here. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop them below, and I will address them. But until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.